My name is Jeffrey Kesting. I'm the Digital Technologies Operations Specialist for NobelProcera for the North American market. We're really thrilled to bring this new product to the market, and more specifically to you as the pilot group of laboratories, as our laboratory partners, to have first access to this product. And we did that strategically because we want to make sure that our laboratory partners are up to speed, obviously, before they start to receive these cases from their clinicians. A lot of great innovations that we brought forward with this new product we're really excited about, and I think you will be too when you see some of the new innovations we've brought through with some of the new technology on the restorative side and also on the material side, as you'll see as well. When we develop products at NobelProcera and NobelProcera, specifically when we're designing custom prosthetics, it's not only about the product itself, but it's the partnership and the processes between the clinicians and the technicians that are important as well. And we are always looking to that when we're designing our products to make sure we have that simplified partnership that gives the availability to have restorative freedom, but yet high-end aesthetic, high-strength restorations like the new NobelProcera Zirconia implant bridge, as you'll see. As I said, we're really excited to bring this product to the market. We've got some really great innovation that we've added to this product. This is a full zirconia implant bridge, and we'll get a little bit more into the indications here in just a couple of minutes. But first, just some of the great innovation that we've added to this product. And I think personally, this is really the best, biggest advantage to this product, and really there's nothing on the industry quite like this. And we have the ability with this restoration now to do the angulated screw channel, or ASC, as it's more commonly referred to, on top of the multi-unit abutments. We can still also do it to implant level, as we have with our single units on the custom abutment and screw retained crown side of things. We still have that with this product as well, but now we've added it in to the multi-unit abutment interface as well. So what does that mean when we talk about 55 degrees of restorative freedom? If you were placing a 30-degree multi-unit abutment, or the clinician had placed a 30-degree multi-unit abutment, and you still needed to angle correct on top of that 30 degrees, 360 in any direction. Now you have the ability to do that with this product in the DTX Studio Lab software and in 3Shape, as you'll see. And now you can correct on top of the multi-units up to 25 degrees. So if you had a 30-unit multi-unit abutment and then you angulated 25 degrees on top of it, obviously there is your 55 degrees of restorative freedom on the angulation of the screw channel. And this is not to say that we want our clinicians to be placing implants at 55 degrees. That could be contraindicated in probably many clinical situations. But this does give you, the clinicians, the restorative freedom to place those implants where they're going to be secure in the bone, in the patient's anatomy, and bring those screw axes back to have better overall strength and aesthetics for that restoration. And that's what we're all trying to achieve. Now, one of the byproducts of the restoration when we were designing this is it does have a 25% smaller screw axis hole, which is great because that will add to overall strength of the restoration. Not only the advancements on the restorative side with the angulated screw channel with this product is also a new material. So we're very excited to have this material as part of the NobelProcera product portfolio. This is a full contour monolithic zirconia. This is the Duceram Nacera Pearl Zirconia material, and it's been in the industry for some time now, very well accepted, very, very high strength, beautiful aesthetic material. So we're thrilled to have it as part of our NobelProcera product portfolio. And as you'll see, moving across all of our product ranges moving forward, we will have this new zirconia material. This slide was made before we updated. We actually have 10 Vita shades available, and you saw that right, Vita shades. So there won't be any legacy shading with this product like we've had with previous implant bridges. This will be to the 10 Vita shades, which should cover most of the cases that you are seeing. So when you are selecting that in the software, you will see the Vita shades that are available, just to simplify that for everybody, as that's the standard in the industry, obviously. As I mentioned, there is the angulated screw channel that we can utilize with this restoration, both at implant level and at multi-unit abutment level, which is new and really adding that added restorability to the case. This is a cement-free restoration. In this example here in the picture, you're seeing these are to multi-unit abutments. If you are doing the bridge to multi-unit abutments, that will be a zirconia interface to the multi-unit abutment, and that's all held together with a screw. If you're going to implant level, we do use metal adapters. We do not use tie bases. So when we say cement-free, we are not cementing tie bases into this restoration. NobelProcera has been doing this since 2007 with this type of fit. We don't believe in cement with these type of restorations. So there are no cemented tie bases with this case. There will be the bridge right to the multi-unit interface, or it will have an adapter for implant level, which is a part of the bridge, which we'll talk about in the product overview here shortly. When we're developing our NobelProcera restorations, these are, of course, very high-end, premium, custom restorations, and there's no difference with this product. It's a really, really high-end product as far as aesthetics, strength, and the material, the engineering, the design, the software, the scanning, everything that goes into it. And we're looking to make that path as straightforward as possible so you can get access easily to these high-end custom prosthetic solutions. Some of the design options that are available with the new NobelProcera Zirconia implant bridge. As I mentioned, it's in the new Nacera Pearl shaded material. That's a monolithic zirconia. It is available from a 2-unit splint all the way up to 14 units, full arch with 10 implants. So compared to some of our legacy products, you can see where we've really pulled down some of the barriers here with this product. So a lot of flexibility here, which is really great. Some of the different design options that you have available, of course, traditional cutback. We have a full contour, and that is with or without soft tissue. We have a thimble prep workflow available with this product. We saw this a lot with the hybrid on the titanium Procera implant bridges. But this, of course, now is available with this product as well. So if you're looking to design a very high-end, retrievable, individual ceramic crowns on a zirconia framework, you can absolutely do that here with this material. And then, of course, the traditional frameworks are available, and then any hybrid of design in between these. So you're not locked into one particular design here. You're going to have the flexibility to achieve any design you're really looking for here. And you'll see that when we go through the software demonstration here in just a couple of minutes. As with all Nobel Biocare products and NobelProcera products, respectively, these are the highest quality and they meet the highest quality standards in the industry for excellent restorative flexibility with the case. This meets all of those standards, as it always has with all Nobel Biocare products. At this time, I'd like to just jump into the product overview. The information you'll be seeing here on these slides will be made available to you as you are the pilot group of laboratories to first access or have access to this product in North America. This product has been launched in our European markets for a few months now. We've gotten tremendous feedback from those markets, from our lab technicians and our clinicians there. And so we're excited to bring that to this market. And you're going to be the first group of laboratories that will have access to this product. The full launch is planned for February. So you'll have early access to this product. So you will receive this information in the product overview. So just going over the screws that can be utilized with this restoration. If you're going to implant level or obviously to multi-unit abutment level, shows you the different screws that are involved and the article numbers, of course. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we do not use cemented tie bases, but if you are going to implant level, you will utilize these metal adapters. These adapters are friction fit into the bridge, the zirconia bridge, and then the other interface into the implant and held together by the screw. This, again, is traditional with Nobel Biocare. We have a lot of success. We've been doing this. It's nothing new. We've been doing this since 2007. We do have different metal adapters for the case. We have clinical adapters, which the case will come with. They're a gold or yellowish color. And then we have laboratory adapters. Now, the laboratory adapters are something you can stock in the laboratory for the different sizes and implants. And the idea here is when you're finishing the product in your laboratory, obviously you're going to probably have to fire it perhaps, So you're going to have to remove the inserts. They're just a friction fit, so they come out and go back in nice and easily. You can order more, of course. You can see all the article numbers here, but the idea is when you're finishing, you could be introducing some dirt there, or you could be doing some damage to that interface. So these lab inserts will work with the bridge where you can keep it in there for finishing. Then before the case is delivered to the clinician, to the patient, you'll insert the clinical adapters, which are clean, pristine, untouched. You'll have that perfect connection to the implant, which is what we're looking for. So that's how the adapters work with this product. A little bit different armamentarium that we've introduced with this product. Just to go over some of the drivers here that you'll see. The UniGrip driver, which is the star grip, has been Nobel Biocare's driver for quite a few years now, so that should be very familiar to you. When we introduced the angulated screw channel, or ASC, for single unit custom abutments and screw retained crowns, and then our 5-unit implant bridges, we introduced the OmniGrip tooling, which is a 3D ball hex, and it's indicated by a little blue strip there. With this product, we've introduced a new driver and screw, and it's called the OmniGrip Mini screw. So again, it's just like the OmniGrip, it's just made smaller, and it's indicated by that little black strip. So that's how you know it's an OmniGrip Mini. So we utilize this tooling. You can see here all the corresponding drivers and different lengths, and of course all the screws that we have available there. So this will be utilizing the OmniGrip Mini, which is great moving forward to our new implant system that will be coming to the market in the beginning of 2021. It will utilize this driver as well, and the screw as well, to keep things locked together. So some of the scanning accessories for the desktop scanner. So if you're using, let's say, our LS3 scanner, or if you're using a 3-shape scanner, here are all the article numbers depending on what implant, Nobel implant connection you're utilizing, or multi-unit abutment connection, what locators you would need to purchase there. If you're doing conventional impressions with stone plaster models, we have the analogs or implant replicas for those as well. So you can reference those here, whether it's of course the internal conical connection, the tri-channel, the Brandemark external hex, or the multi-unit abutment connection. For intraoral scanning, as I mentioned, the indications for the case, it can range from a 2-unit splint all the way up to full arch 14 units supporting 10 implants. So you can bring those in, some of those obviously from an intraoral scanning workflow. So if you need intraoral scan bodies for these connections, you can reference those here as well for DTX Studio or for 3-shape. Again, for implant replicas for 3D printed models, if you're utilizing the model creator software in the DTX Studio Lab software, or the model builder software in 3-shape, here's where you can order those. You can reference the part numbers for those replicas for 3D printed models. As all of our products at Nobel Biocare and NobelProcera, respectively, they go through rigorous, thoroughly detailed testing, more than you would ever know. So this product is no different. It'll go through the same testing that we do with all of our products to make sure it meets all of our strict quality standards before it's launched to the market, which we've done, of course, with this product. When we do manufacture the product, we manufacture these in our Mahwah, New Jersey facility, NobelProcera facility, which services the entire world. They've been milling these, as I mentioned, for the European market for a few months now, and have had great success. This will meet the turnaround times as the current implant bridges, so you can follow those same time guidelines. Internally, we have a very strict tolerances for these products. When we finish the product internally, before we send it to you, it will have to go through the rigorous quality checks and intense measurements, detailed measurements. If it does fail that internal process at any time, we start so we will never rework the product. We start all the way again from the beginning. We would scrap that. So very strict tolerances here, as we've always had with all of our NobelProcera restorations. So you can be assured we have that here as well. We adhere to all of the regulatory bodies across the globe. Here in the United States, the FDA, all NobelProcera, Nobel Biocare products, and of course the new NobelProcera Zirconia implant bridge is a certified medical device. So now that we've talked a little bit, about the product itself, some of the armamentarium and tooling that is a little bit new with this bridge, and some of the design options that are available in the material, how do we get these restorations through? They are available from 2 different workflows. They're available through the DTX Studio Lab workflow or through 3Shape as well. So your clinicians will be sending a traditional impression or a digital scan, STL or PLY data to your laboratory. You will then import that data into the DTX Studio Lab software or into 3Shape. We have 3Shape DME files free that are available for this restoration, so you will be able to send this through to NobelProcera manufacturing from your 3Shape system. These products, as all screw retain products for NobelProcera, are centrally manufactured, and as I just mentioned, it will follow the current turnaround times for our legacy implant bridges, so there will be no difference there. You'll receive the case back to your laboratory. You will then do finishing, and then for final delivery to your clinician and then to the patient, of course. Before we jump into the software demonstration, just wanted to run through some resources that are available to you moving forward. NobelBioCare.com, of course, is where you can find information. Remember, this has not been fully launched yet, so you might not see all the material, but if you don't see it quite yet, it'll be coming very soon. Remember, as part of this pilot group, you're having the first access in this market to this product. DTXstudio.com, if you'd like to find some more information about the software that we're going to be utilizing today and the demonstration just here in a minute. DTX Studio Go, that is an online platform that we have for managing software. There's file sharing. We're building out a services section to that as well. And there's also training content there as well. So you can go on to go.dtxstudio.com. You can sign up and register. It's free to do so, and there's no obligation. You can connect with partners around the world. You do not need to have DTX Studio software, but we would encourage you to go to go.dtxstudio.com and you can sign up there. And that's also where the training content is available. So what you'll see we'll be going through today in the software demonstration, you'll have availability to videos through the training content on DTX Studio Go, or you can go directly to that website as well. Of course, like anything else today, our official social media outlets are a great way to find information. As I said, some of our KOLs in our European markets have already been utilizing this product, and there's some tremendous feedback. So if you do happen to come across some of that on some of the social media channels, definitely go and check that out. Some great content there, of course, as well. So now we're going to jump into the software demonstration. Just going to bring up my DTX Studio Lab software. So when you are doing these cases, this is a demo case that I have here. It's not a real patient, but it does work well for demo purposes, as you'll see. So this is a case I set up with just 4 multi-unit abutments. And we'll go through this. You're going to set this up as you normally would. So you're going to go with your plus sign up on the top left and design restoration. And that's regardless if you're bringing in from an connected LS3 scanner, it'll bring you through that workflow to scan in. But if you're bringing in STLs, let's say from an intraoral scan perhaps, or another scanner, you can certainly import those STLs. You would have import scans from your arch, the opposing, the locators, diagnostic, all that information can be brought in. That will come through the design restoration workflow there as well. So already when you load the prescription, you edit that, you're going to select the new NobelProcera full contour implant bridge, and you'll see it says Nacera, and that's where you'll see the 10 Vita shades. In this example, I selected a B1, but you will see that available there. So I already have my case loaded up here. And as you can see, this is as I mentioned, a demonstration model. It is not a real patient, but just to show the tools and the software, it does work out pretty well. And this is actually a fake opposing too, but we'll work through it. This is the exocad software engine. If you're familiar with exocad, this might look very familiar to you. And this specific workflow for the full arch zirconia implant bridge design, it's going to be pretty much aligned with the native exocad tools. Not overall, but in this, specific workflow. So if you are used to using exocad, you will have a lot of familiarity here with this. Some of the great aspects of the exocad software that we utilize in DTX Studio Lab is they have the ability to you can work through an expert mode or you can work through a wizard mode. So the expert mode is where you're going to jump to the tool that you need at the time. The wizard, as you can see, I'm in right now, down on the bottom left, will bring you along through all the different parts of the workflow that you're going to need. So it does a really nice job. And you can, of course, jump out to the expert mode at any time. In this example, we're going to stay right in the wizard for most of it. So the first part of the wizard, when you first open your case, when you first bring in the case from STL data you have or from an LS3 scan that you did in your laboratory, it's going to ask you if you want to move the pre-op scan, so your diagnostic. So if you needed to move this at all, you can go ahead and do that. Now, you're probably not going to move this, I would imagine, because you're going to be scanning in probably in the position you need. But if you needed to make any adjustments here, you could certainly do that. So I'm just going to click Next on the bottom left. If you needed to go back in the wizard, you can click Back. Now here in the Design Emergence Profile, each one of these multi-unit abutments, as you can see here, it'll mark out the margin. You can see that green line that comes around there, and you can adjust here as you need to, but these are stock cylindrical abutments, so there's not any adjustment that I need to make here. So for 4, 7, 10, and 13 tooth positions, I'm just going to click Next. I don't need to make any adjustments. If you needed to, you could easily do that in this step. For the sake of demonstration, I'm just going to skip through those parts. Now you can see in the wizard, it brings us to what's called Copy Tooth. And what this is, you can see here, I do have a diagnostic scan here, but it's a pretty bad one. Obviously, as I said, this is a demonstration model, not a real patient. So I'm probably not going to want to follow that. So I'm going to start from direct copy. If you did have a virtual pre-op or diagnostic scan that you're working off, you're probably going to want to start with that, most likely. So you could start off the virtual pre-op. I'm going to start with direct copy. That's just going to bring in the library teeth. You can change the library teeth in the software. I'm just going to use the default one for our example and demonstration here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Next. I have direct copy selected. You can see now it brings in my opposing. It brings in some teeth that are all yellow, and I have some screw access channels in there as well. So now you can see in the wizard, it brings us to the section of tooth placement. So what we need to do here is we need to get these teeth in occlusion, obviously. So I don't really want to work too much off that pre-op because it's, as I said, not real. It's pretty rough. So what you can do here, you can, of course, come in and move every tooth, line it up and get it where you need to. You could certainly do that. I'm going to click Undo. You can also click this little checkbox in the wizard under the tooth placement mode for Move All Simultaneously. So now if I just click on one tooth, every other tooth is going to come with it in the arch. So that'll be nice, of course, specifically designing full arch cases. Over right here on the right, you can see this show distances. You can see those colors pop up. We have this display up on top. If you select, come down to show contacts, now you can see those are my contacts there. So as you're adjusting, you'll be able to see it. And you can turn that on and off over there on the right. As I said, not real occlusion, but we'll do the best we can for demonstration purposes here. So if you want to move teeth individually, you could just take off all simultaneously. You could come in here and, make any adjustments you need to. I won't spend a lot of time making adjustments here, as you're all the master artists and craftsmen in your laboratories who know how to design these cases. But just want to make sure I can share with you a lot of the tools that are available to you in designing these types of cases. So maybe I'll just mess around here too much. Yeah, something like that. Maybe I want to move them all a little bit more. Maybe I want to turn off my opposing. You can certainly do that. You can see my screw access holes are going to get a little crazy there, but maybe something like that. I know we have pretty heavy contact there. So maybe I'll move those centrals away a little bit, or maybe move them out a little bit. You can certainly turn on the opposing again. You can make that more or less transparent if you need to as well, depending on how you need to see that. So for the sake of demonstration, I'm just going to say these teeth look like they're designed fine for this stage. Just to share with you a couple other tools here before we move on, there's chain mode, which is a little drawer here. And what that will do is it connects the arch, kind of like a chain. So now when you adjust, you can see here that it moves like a chain. Now, if let's say you get certain teeth in position, let's say I don't want to move the side of the arch. You see these green spheres, you can click on them and they turn to red, and that will lock those positions. So now if I go to move the chain, you can see it will not move the teeth that I turned the spheres to red because it's going to lock those in. So you can click on them again to turn them green again and unlock them. Then there's single mode, so you can move individual teeth, and you can see it kind of, the teeth will form around it in that chain, so to speak. So you can move them how you need to. I'm going to click next now on the bottom left as I'm done with that. Maybe I'll just turn off the distances for now too. Now it brings us to the portion of the wizard that is generate abutment bottoms. The first thing that we're going to do here, you'll notice on each one of the multi-units on the bottom, it puts in this little green sphere. There's a yellow arrow pointing up, a blue arrow pointing towards the buccal, and this other green circle. So what that is that's a handle to help you move that emergence and move that abutment bottom. So you could obviously move that cylinder up, you could move it out. If you click and hold in the green sphere, it lets you adjust how you need to. If I click in this green circle, it turns pink. What that does is it magnetizes to your soft tissue. I don't have any in this case really because it's not a real case, but that would magnetize there, so you get the right emergence there with the multi. If you needed more handles, because it's probably not going to be a perfect cylindrical emergence, you can certainly just hold the control down and put in as many handles as you need to adjust those specific areas. So maybe here I'll just pick these up a little bit just to make it a little bit easier. But you can certainly go in there and adjust how you need to, how those are emerging from the multis. Another very important step in the generate abutment bottoms is under the advanced drawer, down under angulated screw channels. As I mentioned earlier, one of the great advantages to this restoration is the ability to have the angulated screw channel. So we can do that 25 degrees, 360 from implant level or from, like this case, multi-unit abutment level, which is brand new, which is very exciting. And this is where you will utilize that tool. So under angulated screw channels, and we're under the advanced tab under generate abutment bottoms, you can click on clickable. Clickable turns blue. Now you can come in to the tooth and click on the surface where you want the screw axis to emerge, and you can see how it changes the degree depending on where you click. Now I can do it severe. See how I can go up to 25, and I can do that 360. So you can position the screw channels. I know in this case we probably didn't have to do too much, but you get the idea here. You can really get those screw channels where you want to, and if you, let's say, in between multi-unit abutments, now you can angle correct on top of that, which is really a tremendous advantage, as some of these cases can be challenging that way with angulation, just because sometimes the patient's anatomy is not dictating perfect implant placement. How about that? So we can angulate our screw channels here, put them wherever you need them. When you're done, click on next on the bottom left. Now you can see it turns all the teeth yellow and it connects to the implants here. As you can see, don't worry, we're going to design soft tissue for this case, as it is quite a high water case here from the implant interface, or from the multi-unit interface, excuse me. Under freeforming in the wizard now, if we go into free, this is going to be where you can add, remove material and smooth. So if I come in, I'm on add, remove. You can see I clicked on that here, and you can control the size and the strength of my wheel. So if I just wanted to come in, you can see green, it means that I'm adding. See, maybe I just wanted to add a couple of dots just to show you. Okay, so I just added there. If I want to remove, I would hold down shift. You can see it turns red. I'm just left clicking. Now it will remove material. You can say, well, it still doesn't look too good. I still got some areas there. You can use the smooth tool, and you can also change the strength and the size there as well. So it's a continuous smooth, so I could just hold down left click and now smooth. And you can do that anywhere on any of the restorations. So you have those there. Now, if you want to really come in and do some finer detail designing, some of the things you can click on True Smile on the right, and this kind of gives you what the natural teeth look. This has nothing to do with shading, but kind of a nice look, especially if you're going to be doing some secondary anatomy. Let's say you want to carve in there a little bit more. I can go to my brush type, bring that to the small brush, bring down the size, click on Add Remove. Now I can come in, I can zoom this in a little bit, hold down Shift. See, I have the fine point now, and say, well, I need to carve in some secondary anatomy here. I'm not saying you have to do this or need to, want to. But we have some wonderful mills that we use in our facility. Really nothing in the industry like it. So you could probably achieve a lot of nice detail here where with some others competitive systems you might not be able to get all that. So without going too much there, you can see how we can be that detailed. If you move to the Adapt section, that's where you have different presets. I can move different parts of the tooth. So I could go to cusp. I could move a cusp tip. See how I could move any cusp tips. If I wanted to have my opposing in there and maybe turn on my really bad opposing, turn on my distances, I could certainly do that as well. Maybe make that pre-op a little. Oops, not the pre-op. I don't want that on. I want to just that a little bit transparent like so, but there you can see I have my color coding there as well. If you needed to see that, I'll turn those off there for now. If I want to go turn the True Smile off, I can certainly turn that off. Turn off the opposing if you want. You also have tooth parts, so it kind of moves a third of the tooth. Entire tooth, that keeps the base, and you can make it bigger or smaller. Can move things how you need to. Ridges, so maybe on that tooth that I just designed some secondary anatomy, maybe I need to go change some triangular or marginal ridges. I can easily do that now as well. So you can really get the perfect occlusion that you're looking for. Now, speaking of occlusion, up on the top right, you'll notice we have expert mode. I'm going to jump into that quickly. Then I'm going to go to tools right below that. Then I'm going to click on Start Articulator. Obviously, you're doing any case, especially a full arch case, occlusion is extremely important, obviously, for these type of restorations, as they would be for most. So I'm just going to bring this in here quickly, bring in my opposing so I can kind of get a relationship. Put this into my articulator here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but you get the idea. So we have our virtual articulator. Okay. You can show the occlusal plane, the vertical plane. There's different planes here that you can bring in that you can visualize. And then you can move in these different directions. Okay, click OK. Let's see, there's our articulator with our case. There's a gap between the upper and lower. It's a demo case, not a real patient. So you could close that gap. I'm just going to say leave it because I know what it is. Now you'll notice here under articulator options, this is where you can set in all of the parameters for your draw relationship records, your occlusal records, however you're obtaining those, and you could put those in here if you had that. I'm just going to leave the defaults in this example. There's also different articulators. So if you want to look through here on some of the different articulators that we have, there's a few different ones that are built into the exocad. I'm just going to say again, leave the gap. We know that. So each articulator obviously is going to have different types of movement. So hopefully you can find something in there that you're using, perhaps. Maybe I'll show the dinar here. So that has a little bit more movement. So you can see the parameters will change depending on the articulator that you're using. So I'll just say that's okay for now. I'm going to go Start Articulator Movement. I'm going to click right down on the bottom. You can see how it goes through the excursions with the articulator. even in my really bad occlusion here. Okay, so once it goes through it again, you can set all your parameters. I'm going to click OK. And when you click OK, now I'm going to click back on the wizard. It'll bring us right back to where we were. Okay, so what you can do now, you see up on the top right, we have repeat articulator movement. So we have these 4 different options. We have protrusion, the lateral, right and left. And what you can do is you can manually slide through the jaw movement, this is just the protrusion. You can go through that. Lateral protrusion, right? Let's go that way. So you can go through all these different movements through the articulation. So that way when you have contacts, you can take those down. You can make sure you have cuspid guidance, all the things that you need to do with occlusion and bite. You can make sure you do that here all through the articulator. So that's all available to you there. The adapt section of freeforming, here where we can adapt the pontic to the gingiva. This is a high water. In this example, we don't have to do that. You can adapt the occlusal. So I'll show you what that looks like. So in this case, we have that, obviously pretty bad opposing there. But if I click on cut intersections with occlusal, what that's going to do is it's just going to, I'll show my distances, cut away all at 0.1 millimeters, just cut away all those interferences. Obviously, this would just cut through most of those teeth because of this terrible occlusion. So I'm obviously not going to keep that, but you can see where those interferences, it just cuts those right away. And then the shape preserving adaptation can be used to keep the tooth form with those as well. So that's there. Once you're done doing that, I'm just going to say for the sake of demonstration and moving on here, that looks okay. I'm going to click on next. This is just saying we didn't adapt. We don't need to adapt the pontics because they're not touching. Occlusion is so bad we're not doing that, but I showed you how you could do that. And proximal, we're not going to do that because it's a full arch case. So I'm just going to click next. At this section of the wizard, it's going to bring in that diagnostic scan again. I'm going to turn it off because I'm not following that, but if you were, you could adapt to that, your design to that at this point. At this step, if you were not designing virtual gingiva, you could just proceed and click next. We're going to design virtual gingiva in this case. And what we do here is, or what the software does, is this does a virtual survey, virtual blockout. So you can see here in this red area, it's going to block that out in this demo model. So you have parameters with the undercuts as well. So if you needed to work into a certain undercut, you can allow up to a certain amount of millimeters, fractions of a millimeter, and you can change the angle as well. So if there's unique cases where you had to engage different aspects of the soft tissue, you have some control there. And you can see the progress bar on the bottom left here, and it's going to give us, when it's done, that blue model, which it has now. And now we have that blockout model. We can start to mark our outline for soft tissue. So I'm going to click next on the bottom left. Now it's going to bring you in to start marking the outline for the virtual gingiva. I just started the lingual between the two centrals. You do not have to do that. You can start anywhere you like, and you just start to plot points around the outline where you want the soft tissue to be. Once you plot a point, let's say I put one down here, I want to move it. You can, once you plot the points, you can move them. You can also add more points on the line. Just click on the line anywhere you want. It'll add another point closer, so it gives you another handle to make any unique adjustments that you need to. I'm just going to go around rather quickly because this demonstration model doesn't require too much in the way of unique soft tissue designs. And we're just going to come around. Okay, and we'll just double click there to close. Once you make that double click in between, it will start to process the soft tissue, the virtual gingiva. It just takes a couple of moments to complete that. So just wait until you see the gingiva, and then you'll know when you can start to proceed. You'll see that come in here in just a minute. And there it is. So you can see here now it's put in. Now, if you had to go back and adjust any of these areas, you could certainly go ahead and do that. at this point, and then just click apply in the wizard, and then it'll reshape the tissue to those designs. So if you had to add more handles, if you had to remove some, if you had to make some changes, you could certainly do that. Now, for the sake of time and demonstration, I'm just going to leave this the way it is. I'm going to click next on the bottom left. Now this brings us to the freeform gingiva section of the wizard. I'm going to turn off the distances there on my soft tissue. You can see my soft tissue is now in that yellow color. And we have all the free-forming tools here. So add, remove, smooth, all those tools we used when we were designing our crowns in our bridge are there for the soft tissue virtual gingiva as well. I'm going to click back on my presets here. We have small region, which I'm on now. So just as an example, you can see it can pick up any area of soft tissue. It picks up a small area. So maybe interproximally. We're going to design contacts on this, but maybe this is something that you'd want to do and close some of these interproximal areas with soft tissue. I'm not saying you have to do that, but just giving you an idea of some of the tools here that we can use to design soft tissue virtual gingiva. Okay. Maybe I'm picking that up into bad crown design, but anyway. So you can come in here and you have all this. Now there's also huge region, which kind of picks up a tooth region, I guess I like to say. So you can see here on that cervical area of those teeth, maybe I need to pick that up or adjust that a little bit. And remember, you do still have free forming here. So if you're not getting the exact, movement or design you want, jump into free forming. Remember, you can add, remove, you have all your smoothing tools there. You can do really whatever you need to there. There's nice flexibility with the design of this. So I'm just going to say this looks okay for demonstration purposes, even though it probably doesn't. Maybe I'll go back to small region and try to correct some of the things I did there. But anyway, you can do what you need to here and adjust that. And remember, it moves in all dimensions. So like if I needed to move out this way, of course you can do that too and really achieve nice soft tissue design. Once I'm done designing my soft tissue, I'm going to click on next in the wizard on the bottom left. This will bring us to the cutback aspect, or what they call shrinking in the wizard. So we have some defaults here, as I'll show you. We have facial ridge cutback. I'll give you a visualization of what that will look like. Incisal ridge cutback. And as I mentioned earlier, we can do a thimble prep workflow. So if you're looking to do individual crowns on this Zirconia framework, you have that available with this bridge as well. I'm going to click on Don't Use the Shrink. So let's say I wanted to do a custom cutback. I'm just going to do a cutback on the two centrals, just as an example. You can, of course, do any and all the teeth that you like. I'm going to come down to partial shrink. I'm going to click on Exclude Selected Parts. Then I'm going to click on Mark All. It turns all the teeth blue. So what's in blue is what will stay. And what I want to do is I want to remove aspects of the facial of the two centrals here, 8 and 9, to give me that cutback. Now I'm going to cut this back, let's say to 0.7. I'll set that now, right here in the depth. Then I'm going to come in, I'm going to hold down hold down Shift to remove, and then I'm going to move my mouse over the area where I want to cut back. As I said, you can be as detailed as you need to be here. I'm just giving you a very basic example of this, but again, you can do a really nice custom detailed cutback. You can also work with the freeform cutbacks and work off of those. You can do further reduction or adjustment off of those as well. So, or you can do 100% custom, whatever you need to do. Generally, in these cases, in the aesthetic, you're probably not going to have monolithic zirconia in the anterior. You're probably going to do some type of cutback, I would assume, but you'll see. But you have the tools, whatever you need to do. Now, if I came over to the lingual a little bit here, maybe I want to put that back, just use my green. I just don't hold the Shift, and that's the positive, so it'll put that back in there for me. And then if I got some here, that's where I can hold down Shift, and remove that, move that. For the sake of demonstration, we're just going to say that looks okay. I'm going to cut it back 0.7, then I'm going to click Apply. And now you can see what it's doing here. Now it's cutting back those two centrals in the area I marked 0.7 millimeters. So I'll be adding 0.7 millimeters of veneering material here. This is the way I'm designing this. I'm going to click on next on the bottom left. It's going to bring us back to free forming. So all the same tools we're familiar with here. This looks pretty ugly. So maybe I want to go to my free and click on smooth just because that looks so bad. I don't think you'll design them quite like I will. I think you'll do them a lot better. But you get the idea here. You can achieve all those type of designs that you need to. So freeforming is here. If you have to do any additional freeforming, you can always jump to the expert mode at any point also to go back to any of the steps. Here again, it's just going through the adaption. I don't have to adapt anything here. I'm just going to click next. Now it's going to bring us to the section in the wizard for connectors, generating connectors. You can see here we have different connectors in the software. So here's this reversed teardrop, and I'll just click apply so you can see what that looks like. You can see in yellow there. And you can see the cross-sectional area, so you have control over that if you'd like to set those parameters manually here. Also, if you click on free, you can come in here and you see the measurements. Also, you have all the individual handles, the color coding. You can come in and be very detailed. What's great about the connectors, like I can pick this up and move it, and it'll automatically adjust to wherever I move it to. I think that's a really nice feature. There's also this plus sign here, which what it does is instead of putting in a positive connector, it will move the surfaces of the teeth, the contacts. So it'll move the mesial and distal surfaces of the teeth together to form a connector versus putting in, like you see here, a solid connector. So maybe that's something in a full arch that you'd want to do. But again, that's going to depend on your actual contacts. I'm just going to say this is fine for our demonstration. So I'm going to click on next. Just apply that. Oops. I'll show you what this looks like first. Forgot to do that. So you can see this puts in this different color here. That's the plus sign. Okay, that's to join the tooth shapes directly. If I wanted to go back to the teardrop, I could go back to that, click apply. Now you can see it puts those in. So you can choose whatever connectors you need. Now, as we come through the final processing of the bridge, what the software is doing at this point is it's taking all of our design work and it's essentially making it into one piece or one file for milling. Because remember, we designed our crowns, we designed our emergence from the multi-unit abutments, we designed angulated screw channels, we put in soft tissue, virtual gingiva, we put in connectors. So all of that information has to be processed, and that's calculated in the software before it goes through. That can be sent for milling. So that's what the software is doing here. And generally, depending on the size of the case, that will take a couple of minutes for the software to do that. Again, if it's a 2-unit splint, it's probably going to go pretty quickly. We have a full arch case here. It's going to take a little bit of time to do that. So you'll see the progress down here on the bottom left, and you can still move this around. But you'll see it change colors a little bit in different aspects as it's doing the final processing and merging of all of this data together. So we have that one piece. So remember, this is a solid piece of zirconia, screw retained, zero cement, which is a really nice advantage. So you can see it working through here, final processing. And what we're going to be able to visualize here when this is done in just a few moments is also our production blank. So you'll be able to see exactly where the restoration fits into the production blank. So if it was something, quite large, you'd be able to visualize if it was going to meet the dimensions for milling. And all the restrictions for the product are built in. So anything that you cannot do as far as minimum thicknesses, for example, are all set in the software, so you will get those notifications. So anything that you can send through to manufacturing that we're able to produce has met those restrictions. And when this case does complete up here, you'll have the ability to freeform again too. So let's say you needed to go in, you needed to adjust a contact or a soft tissue area. maybe on the intaglio surface, there were some sharp areas that you wanted to relieve. You could certainly go in and do those at that point, right when this is done. And then you're going to proceed to save the case. And then you'll move to the NobelProcera DTX Studio Lab cockpit, where you can place that order for the restoration. Then it's centrally produced, as all screw retain restorations for NobelProcera and NobelBioCare are. So you'll be able to send that through. The turnaround times, as I mentioned earlier, follow the same turnaround times for our legacy implant bridges, Zirconia implant bridges. So I think it's about 3 to 4 days. Don't quote me on that, but we have those timelines that we can give to you if you need to have those. To plan out your cases. You, as a pilot group of laboratories, have this restoration available to you now in your DTX Studio Lab software. If you're a 3Shape user, there will be a DME available for that as well. So, and we'll have some training content coming up soon with 3Shape as well. We were just focusing, obviously, on DTX Studio Lab at this point. If there's not any questions at this point, thank you very much for your attention as we're at the end of the training here. Now, this will be made available, this recording or another recording that's very similar to this will be made available to you for on-demand viewing very shortly. There's programs, training programs that we're doing the same as this every single day. So you'll get those invites as well. You're more than welcome to join any other trainings. They will be the same as this one. And as I said, we'll get that recording out to you as well. Also, your local digital specialists are available to support you on a local level. They have been trained on this product and in the software for designing the product. So if you have any questions, if you do not know that person, you can just give a call to our customer service line at NobelBioCare, and they'll be happy to connect you with that person so they can support you on the local level. There's our finished bridge. As I said, if you wanted to look at the production blank, it's there you can see where that lies inside of the blank. Then, as I mentioned earlier, if you needed to freeform, you can simply click on next here at this point, or jump to the expert mode where you could come in and make any changes. Like I mentioned, maybe you want to look at the intaglio surface and say, well, I need to do some smoothing here because I might have some really sharp edges. Not saying that would be what it is, but just giving you an example. You could come in at this point, smooth things out, as I said, adjust contacts, make any adjustments you need to here at this point as well. And then you can click next and proceed through, and you're ready to send your case. So I don't see any questions in the chat. Thank you so much for your attention, and we really look forward to launching this new NobelProcera Zirconia implant bridge with you and your laboratory, and certainly here to support you and look forward to all the success. Thanks so much for your attention. Take care.